The Rue du Bois is a long road which runs through the fertile plains of French Flanders. There are many reminders that some of the fiercest fighting of the First World War occurred around here, none more so than in 1915. In the autumn of 1914, the Western Front as we know it emerged. Men on both sides dug in and created a trench system which ran from the Belgian coast to the Swiss border. In the spring of 1915, a joint French and British offensive in the Artois region sought to break through the German lines. The British First Army was tasked with breaking through the German lines at Aubers Ridge, one of the few high spots in the area. So on the evening of the 8th of May 1915, the men of the 2nd Royal Munster Fusiliers stopped here to receive general absolution from Fr Francis Gleeson, their chaplain. This was a prelude to them participating in the Battle of Aubers Ridge, which occurred on the morning of the 9th of May 1915. Accounts at that time suggest that the men were very prayerful and were listening most intently to Father Gleeson, because the truth is many of them knew they wouldn't see another sun set. After they had completed general absolution here, the men marched a kilometre down the road here past a place called the Cinder Track and went into the frontline trenches in anticipation of the Battle of Aubers Ridge, which began the following morning. The Rue du Bois ran parallel to the British frontline trenches, and the German frontline trenches ran in turn parallel to the British trenches. The distance between the two frontline positions, or no man's land, was approximately 450 metres. The battle was a major disaster for the British and precipitated what became known as the Shells Crisis, which led to the fall of the Liberal government of Herbert Asquith to be replaced by a coalition government. The Liberal Party would never hold power in Britain on its own again.
I have the British casualty figures for the first day of the battle for Aubers Ridge. 458 officers and 11,161 men.
If our brief is to tell the truth, but a truth which is bearable to the British people, do we dilute the figures?
I think we have to.
Or do we camouflage them by emphasizing the scale of the victory?
Assuming, that is, that our troops took Aubers Ridge.
I'm afraid they didn't.
The battalion diary of the 2nd Royal Munster Fusiliers reveals the carnage. Commanding officer Lieutenant Colonel Victor Rickard was shot while rallying a few men for a further advance. The end of a fruitless day, the Royal Munster Fusiliers had sustained almost 400 casualties. Among those bereaved by the battle was the novelist Jessie Rickard, the wife of Victor Rickard. She was already a well-known writer. She wrote an account of the last general absolution in her book The Story of the Munsters, which was published in 1915. Her account was picked up by the Italian war artist Fortunino Matania, then working for the Sphere magazine in London. The painting first appeared in the centrefold of the Sphere's Christmas edition for the year 1916. Elsewhere in the magazine was a description of the painting. Matania had interviewed some of the men who had been present at the last general absolution to ensure the painting's authenticity. Dominating the picture is Father Gleeson on his horse, his hand outstretched, giving absolution to the men. Also on his horse is Lieutenant Colonel Rickard. This man, the adjutant, Captain Thomas Filgate, survived the Battle of Aubers Ridge but was killed later in 1915 in the war. And there were the men, arranged in companies, heads bowed, fearful of what was coming next. The description in the Sphere magazine also included this account by Jessie Rickard, which was published in her book on the Munsters. There are many stopping places in the strange pilgrimage we call life, but there is no other such journey in the world as the journey up a road on the eve of battle, and no stopping place more holy than a wayside shrine. The painting proved so popular that many prints were ordered from the magazine, and it was published in Ireland by the weekly Freeman's Journal. It appeared in many Irish homes, but the original has been lost, some say in the London Blitz of 1940. However, it was not generally known that a second identical version was painted by Matania in 1919 for the English businessman Alfred Robinson. Robinson commissioned the painting to celebrate the safe return of his son, Lieutenant Esmond Robinson, from the war. Esmond Robinson was with the Royal Field Artillery at Aubers Ridge. The painting remained in the Robinson family until 2023, when it was sold to a private collector, and then it was sold again a year later by Whites to the businessman Willie Slattery, whose grandfather was in the Royal Munster Fusiliers. The book, The National University of Ireland Roll of Honour, edited by myself and Dr. Emil Purcell, features the painting on the front cover. The book tells the story of students and graduates of UCD, UCC and UCG who served in the First World War, alongside 60 chaplains from Maynooth, including Father Gleeson. The painting's new owner, Willie Slattery, agreed to lend it to an institution if a suitable occasion could be found for it to go on display. It was given to Cork as part of its centenary commemorations for the War Memorial, which was first unveiled in 1925. The Matania painting went on public display for the first time in the Cork Public Museum in April as part of an exhibition which explains not only the origins of the painting but the real-life individuals depicted in it. The exhibition also included Father Gleeson's own war diary on loan from the Dublin Diocesan Archives. More than a century after it was first painted, Matania's lost and found masterpiece remains one of the enduring images of the First World War.